Hello, my friends. Like you, I'm doing a lot of personal reflection on the George Floyd murder and the subsequent protests and unfortunately looting that has come from all this. And I'm thinking a lot about my own personal beliefs, my upbringing, things that I've allowed myself to believe without question for years, things that I need to do in order to change. And there's a lot of talk about the history of this country, the history of racism, and so on. And I thought back to when the country was founded. And I was raised in history classes to think that the country was based on religious freedom and getting away from the oppression of the English king. And the more I do my own personal work and get a sense of what my own personal demons and drives are, I came to realize that this country was not founded on religious freedom. I don't think it was even founded on Judeo-Christian values. What I think this country was founded on is selfishness, self-interest. When you hear about what the Pilgrims were talking about, it was all my religious freedom, my right to worship as I want to, my God, and things like that. And when you saw how they conducted themselves and how oppressive they were, not only to the natives, but to each other, the intolerance, the impatience, the rigidity, everything that was opposite of what the Bible teaches. Jesus was all about generosity and acceptance and treating people as equals, and that simply doesn't happen that often. It sure as hell didn't happen way back when. If you are driven by the idea that everybody was equal, deserves kindness, treat your neighbor like you would treat yourself, why slaughter all the natives? Why steal their land and feel entitled to it? And think things like, well, God brought us to this land and God wants us to live in abundance and he wants us to punish these heathens. And that's ego. That's selfishness. That's not religion. That's not spirituality. That's pure, unadulterated, me, mine, more for myself. And when you hear people talk about it today, they talk about, I'm not going to go against my beliefs. I have a right to my religion. I have a right to my own opinion, my own beliefs. My, me. That's ego. That is selfishness. That is not any kind of spirituality that is based on compassion, kindness, supporting the less fortunate around you, trying to minister to the oppressed. Where is that? Where's that in the message? It isn't there. Because the country wasn't found on a sense of freedom for everybody, where everybody can belong. It was based on the beliefs of a group of white settlers that they were superior, they had higher status, they were far more special than everybody else, including the native peoples here, and they behaved according to that sense of superiority. And many of them continue to do so. I'm not saying that Judeo-Christian values are wrong. I'm just saying I'd like to see them practiced for once. Practiced consistently. It's time to go back to the source and get your flippin' ego out of it. Because that's what's causing so much pain and suffering right now. We need to start looking towards each other, to each other, as this global family that we've always been, that we prevented ourselves from seeing because we were too caught up in our own stuff, our own wants, our own sense of entitlement. So that needs to change. Get rid of this whole me and think in terms of we. Go out, talk to your black brothers and sisters. Say hi to your Asian and Latino neighbors. Invite them over. Cake them some cookies or something. Be a neighbor as opposed to an oppressor. Yes, I use that word because maybe you didn't create these oppressive systems, but you sure as heck benefit from them. And they need to be torn down. Otherwise, we're not going to have peace in this world, not until everybody has the same opportunities and everybody can make their fullest contribution. So that's my 2 cents on that. I feel, feel free to leave any comment, even if it's disagreeing. We need to have this conversation, and invite other people to the conversation if you like. The only kind of feedback I don't want is abusive, rude, personal attacks. That does not help. It's the equivalent of doing looting and violence, but on a more emotional level. In any case, that's all for me right now. Remember, even in these most difficult times, you're good enough. And thanks for being you.